This is Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and Jerome Horton is back. He is the chair of California's Board of Equalization. And it appears as we speak today that there will be new laws relating to medical marijuana and the regulation of medical marijuana. They've been a long time coming. Talk to us about one of them and how the BOE is implicated.
Well, it's the AB 266.
Right.
It's an interesting bill. What it does is it creates the Medical Marijuana Safety Act.
Okay.
Kind of interesting, the name.
Right.
It also creates a Medical Marijuana Bureau for the purpose of licensing and regulation, and it encourages the Board of Equalization to work with the Food and Ag Administration to establish a process to track the flow of the product from the grower to the retailer to the consumer.
For what purpose? For taxing purposes?
The purpose of that is for regulatory purposes, not only taxing purposes, which is currently subject to sales tax and all the other taxes available to any other product, but also for quality control, food and ag, to make sure that the product is not mixed and laced with other stuff and that there isn't a danger to our citizens.
Do you have the resources, the staff to engage in this practice?
You know, the Board of Equalization has a system in place. We're currently at the truck stops and everything else, but this is a huge business, Brad, as you know.
Is it?
It's a huge business. I mean, it's about, it's estimated to be somewhere around $1.7 billion.
Right.
But when you really talk to the folks on the inside, it's about a $20 billion business.
Is that both legal and illegal?
Legal and illegal products here in the state of California. For me, it is the criminals operating in this business that scares me the most.
But do you feel as if with the passage of medical marijuana and the increasing acceptance of medical marijuana use that we're seeing less criminal activity, at least in the marijuana trade?
We're actually seeing more.
Really?
We're actually seeing more.
Why?
What's happening is that it's illegal for the federal purposes.
Right, we know that.
It's legal for medical purposes.
Right.
There's a tax on it, there's fees on it, and so forth. Well, that creates a profit margin for the criminals. Criminals can buy the product cheaper. They can sell it cheaper without taxes and without all of the fees associated with it. So at the end of the day, it's ripe for the underground economy. And here's the other challenge is, it's hard to tell who's who.
Right.
You know, you see a cannabis retailer, you don't know whether they're legitimate or not until you do an investigation.
Now, as a result of AB 266, will the fights between dispensaries and municipalities vanish?
No. The local governments still maintain control. They still have the authority to reject or issue the license, similar to the liquor industry where they do their planning and use provisions. They're allowed to determine how many liquor stores should be in their community. So that is still hold true. LA, Los Angeles, has a specific carve out where, Proposition D still stands. All the laws in Los Angeles still stand. And as you know, Brad, we've been aggressively trying to educate, inform, and then we intend to start an aggressive enforcement process to go after the criminals operating in the business or the folks that are just not complying with the law.
We know that Colorado's legalized marijuana, Washington State is legalized, DC is legalized, Alaska, I believe, is legalized. California could be next. What does that mean for the BOE and for taxing purposes?
Well, California is the largest consumer of pot in the nation. Over 1/3 of the pot consumed in the nation is consumed right here in California.
Which is amazing since we're only about 5% of the population, which is a big
amount,
amount, but
it's huge. And a significant portion of it is actually grown here and distributed here. So for us, it's tax evasion.
Right.
It's tax evasion, because they're evading the taxes. But the other concern is that the criminals that are operating, they use these funds to fund other criminal activity.
You'll come back and talk about it?
Yeah.
His name is Jerome Horton. He is a member of the Board of Equalization, the chair of it. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.